Welcome back to another episode of Forbidden Depths. I'm your host, Queen Frostbitten, and we're here today to get down, dirty, and sultry by staying open, educated, consensual, and safe. If you're returning, welcome back to another episode. Thanks for supporting the channel and its growth. If, of course, you're new here, make sure you follow, like, and subscribe, because one taste will never be enough. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Forbidden Depths. Today we have an amazing individual. Now he's one of a kind. I've been following him for a little bit on Twitter, and I'm going to tell you, if you don't follow him already, you want to get on over there. It's at dirtyoldman_AW. Now, Sid, if you could go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm 74. I'm sex worker at the moment. I only do phone chat. Originally I was escorting as well, and I decided when I got to 74 I was too old to carry on doing that. So like I say, I just do phone chat now and I enjoy it.
Okay, nice. So you're a chat specialist, which is really cool. Now you said that you were doing escorting before and you just moved to the phone chatting. So was it more or less kind of something to do with your health? You just didn't have the time for it anymore? Like, why did you kind of get out of the escorting?
Health and age.
Okay.
To be truthful, I didn't really feel like being pushed and pulled around and probed.
Yeah, for sure. Like, people don't realize how taxing that work is. Like,
it's very difficult. Some girls, I don't know how they manage, really.
Yeah.
In fact, last night a friend of mine went to a meet, did the meet, the guy paid her. Before she got out the door, he'd got his hands around her throat, took her money off her and threw her out the door.
That's so scary.
Yep.
That's so scary.
Yep.
Is she okay?
Yep.
I'm glad she's okay. That's a really scary situation. And that's one of those things that it does happen. It's not that it happens often, but it does happen. And I mean, it's so hard to find someone to talk to, just because everyone kind of views sex work as a negative thing. They see it kind of in a bad light, which is kind of why I started the channel in the first place. I want people to see that it is a positive thing. It is a good thing. We are providing therapy for people. We are helping people. And I feel like it needs to be regulated. I feel like if it had more education, more awareness, and it was regulated, that it would be a safer environment, you know?
Definitely. There should be no stigma attached to being a sex worker.
Yes.
You're providing a service the same as going to the supermarket, going to the garage to get fuel.
Yes.
And
I completely agree.
In providing the service that we do, I think it eliminates attacks on women and children.
Yes.
And men, of course.
Right. Because I mean, everyone's kind of going to be affected by it, because there are people out there that get into sex work because they enjoy it, not because, oh, well, this is a last resort kind of thing. Some people, they didn't have the opportunity to express themselves and grow into the person that they want to be. So this gives them the opportunity to kind of become a well-rounded individual.
Yeah. Plus they can build a different persona.
Yeah. Sorry, my headset's dying. Okay, so for me, I feel like if it was regulated and people had the opportunity to kind of be more open and make the environment more safe, I feel like there are so many people that could benefit from sex work. Because whenever I got into sex work for myself, I know that it helped me through a lot of the issues that I had. Um, some of the trauma that I had whenever I was younger, it kind of helped me work through that. And then on top of that, I always promote going to therapy because I feel like the majority of people um, have something that they need to talk about, that they need to get out and off their chest. And I always promote therapy because I feel like it could be useful for anyone in any profession. It's just in sex work, we don't have that opportunity because sometimes whenever you talk to someone as a sex worker, they look at you in that bad light, like the stigma we were talking about a moment ago. And I feel like with education and awareness and just acceptance of the adult community, we could do so much in helping so many people.
Oh yes, there's always a person there somewhere that's prepared to either do or listen to what another person wants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, what kind of made you want to get into the escorting and sex work as a whole?
Lack of money, I suppose, at the time.
Okay.
I'd been made redundant, and I just got a bit of money then, and I met an escort, and we became friends, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been chatting, and I said that I was in a bit short, and I couldn't really afford to see her for a while. And she said, "Well, why don't you do something like phone chat?" So what you got? I don't understand because I knew nothing at all about phone chat,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and she explained what it was, and I said, "Well, I'll think about it."
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I say, we became good friends, and she came the following weekend and um, set everything up for me, and um, I joined adult work,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought, well, nothing will come of this, and well, for I would imagine it took about 2 weeks before I started getting one or two calls, and
Mm-hmm.
then it became quite busy, and I was earning not a fortune, but enough to help.
Right. Right.
And then she said, "Well, why don't you try escort?" And I said, "I don't really want to." But she
Right.
knew I was bi, so the thought of men, making love to each other doesn't bother me at all.
Right.
So, well, I thought I'll give it a go. And she said, "Well, look, if you're nervous, I'll come. I'll stop over the weekend. You can put your availability on and see what happens." Well, that weekend, I probably had 8 to 10 guys,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I enjoyed it, and it was easier with her being in another room, so that if I did get into bother,
Right.
she would be able to help.
Yeah.
And from then, I did escorting for what, 5 years, like I say, and then I got to 74, and I thought, no, I don't really want it any longer. I'll
Right.
just do the phone chat, so that's what I do now.
Yeah.
But having said that, I joined Night Flirt, and I've met some wonderful guys on there, to chat to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been good. I still do the adult work, but that's dropped off at the moment. I think
Right.
mainly because of the cost of living over here, and there's no money
Right.
around.
Yes, 100%. Now, that's something that I feel like everyone in the adult industry is impacted by, the lack of money in circulation, just because that's like a luxury. Sex work is like a luxury. And some people, that's one of the first things to go whenever their bills get too high. And let's face it, with all the prices of everything that's went up and everything that's happened since COVID, it's left a lot of people with less money in circulation.
Definitely, definitely.
So I see that a lot with so many different aspects of sex work. So I'm gonna say that overall the adult industry has had a little less money. Now, in the beginning, whenever people were staying home and they thought they had extra money, they were spending their money, and then it slowly died off. I noticed that in the US anyway.
Well, it's the same here.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about um, what you feel like the strengths for being a sex worker are. Kind of, what do you think the good qualities that you have to have in order to be successful or just kind of thrive in sex work?
You've got to be able to talk to people.
Hmm.
You've got to be able to um, suss them out without meeting them
Hmm.
as to what they ask for, how they ask, and be aware that there's always a danger that they're going to turn.
Right.
And once you meet them, you usually get the first impressions are usually the best.
Hmm.
You can usually tell whether the guy or the woman, it is honest and just wants to have fun.
Right.
You do get some that just want to inflict pain
Yes.
and be sadistic. I get some even on phone chat that are very um, abrupt and rude.
Hmm.
But if I don't want to carry on with the call, I can disconnect.
Right.
But as
Yes.
long as they're paying and you're okay with it, then fair enough. But when it comes to actual physical sex work, there's a lot of things people don't want to do that others do.
Right.
So you're always going to find somebody somewhere that will meet your needs.
Right.
Not
Yes.
necessarily me, not necessarily you.
Right.
But if they ask for it and you say no, then they should abide by that and respect your wishes.
Yes.
I'll give you an instance. I never had uh, unprotected sex with a man,
Right.
and I had an age limit of 30. No, nobody under 30. I
Right.
meant I got this booking, and I did say, "You are over 30." Yes, yes. I said, "There's no unprotected sex. No, that's not a problem." This was before I met him.
Hmm.
When he arrived, I thought he looked young, but looks can be deceiving.
Right.
And I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and we got down to business. And I said, "Don't forget, no unprotected sex,
Hmm.
and the condoms are there." Well, with that, we were having oral sex, and he got a bit heated, if you like,
Hmm.
and he tried to penetrate me unprotected,
Hmm.
and he persisted. So, although I'm old, I was still pretty fit then.
Right.
So I just pushed him off, threw him out the bed, and threw him out the room,
Hmm.
and threw his clothes after him. Stood at the top of the stairs because I live in an apartment,
Hmm.
and said the best thing to go.
Right.
Mind you, I'd been paid, so he said he wanted his money back. I said, "No, I told you there's no unprotected sex
Right.
and there's no refund."
Right.
And after that, I was more um, inquisitive as to when they rang to
Right.
get to know them a bit better. But that
Right.
was the only time I'd been in that situation.
Hmm.
I've had people that have disrespected my home, if you like, because I did it from my home.
Yeah.
But you can get round that in other ways.
Right. Well, I'm glad the majority of your experiences have been more positive. Um, I do like also that you have the little bit of information that you can kind of tell people, hey, you need to do your research. Hey, you need to look at process of elimination when it comes to getting your bookings, to accepting people. Um, like it's really nice also that you had your home, which was a safe place for you. Not everybody has access to a space like that for work. So it's really, really cool that you do. Um, let's kind of talk about um how it looks different whenever you work as an entrepreneur, as a sex worker, and working a 9 to 5. So, kind of what's the differences to you?
Working 9 to 5, you're working for someone else. They cover your salary. If you get holiday pay, sick pay, all well and good. If you're a sex worker, you get no pay if you do not work. You do
Mhm.
not get paid for holidays. There's no sickness pay, and you're reliant on people contacting you
Right.
and paying you what you request. Now, some will try and talk you down. Some will
Yeah.
say, "Well, can I have an hour for half an hour rate or whatever?" And I always said no.
Yeah.
If I like somebody enough, then that's a different thing.
Right.
If I'd met them before,
And they're consistent, right.
yeah, then it's different.
Yeah.
I still, to be quite truthful, I still see one guy,
Mhm.
and I don't charge him like I would if I was still working properly.
Right.
So he'll ring me, say, "Can I come round?" And he comes round, and we have a bit of fun, and then he goes and he leaves the money on the side, and we're both quite happy with that.
Yeah, because
But it's like the phone chat.
mhm.
Some people think that if they book a call on adult work and I ring them, so they've got my number. By getting my number, they think they can just call me anytime and I'll chat for free, which I won't,
Right.
because I'm in it the same as any other sex worker, is to earn some money.
Yes, 100%. And I mean, your time is precious. You can't get that back. That's one
I
of those
know.
things that people don't understand. Like, whenever we are investing in sex work, we're investing in ourselves. That would be like if we were on company time, if we worked for some company and they caught us doing stuff we weren't supposed to be doing at work. Like, we're over here doing like YouTube research and all this other stuff, just like fun stuff, and they would be upset with you. You either wouldn't get paid for that time or you would get disciplined. Like, it's no different for our work. It should be respected, you know?
Yes, yes. And I don't know what it's like in America, but I used to get probably 70% of the calls were just a waste of time.
Yeah.
And a lot of them would just sit there talking, and knew exactly what they were doing. They were having a play and getting themselves off by talking.
Yeah.
They don't realize you can tell by the breathing and how they speak that they're having it.
Mhm.
Well, I'll put it bluntly, they're wanking themselves off.
Yeah. Yeah. Just right. And that's kind of what I've got to as well. So anybody in the sex industry has noticed that whenever the majority of people contact you, they're there to waste your time. They're there for free time. They don't see it as a waste of time because they're getting what they want. They're getting that free moment to have that interaction with you, which is what's going to get them off. But in the end, as you get more developed in sex work and you kind of hear people's tales, you kind of see their tales, you can understand whenever someone is truly questioning for an opportunity or whether they're wasting your time. The majority of the time, it is they're wasting your time. Unfortunately,
Correct.
that's how it is.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your support system. So it's really, really cool that you had the one escort that was like a mentor for you, that gave you information, that kind of helped you out with getting everything set up, that helped you understand where stuff was. That's really, really cool um to me. So on the other end of the spectrum, do you have anyone that's outside of the sex work community that's like a friend, a relative, a family of some sort that you were able to talk to and they encourage you to be yourself through sex work?
No,
So
no,
you keep it all to yourself, and then you have the small networking community from the lady that helped you previously.
yeah. I've met quite a few girls online
Mhm.
and we talk, other sex workers.
Right.
They know what I do because I know what they do naturally.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, we do discuss what what goes on. I know one girl. She doesn't have a number on. Everything's booked through either email or adult work.
Mhm.
And if there's no feedback, she won't see them because with a bit of positive feedback, you can get an idea what sort of person they are.
Yeah.
And if other girls are saying don't touch him, then you know, don't you? If they're all saying he's a nice guy, blah
Yeah.
blah blah, then you're going to see him.
Right. Yes. Completely accurate, because I mean, in all reality, anybody that goes into sex work, you need to have some kind of community that's just kind of there for you, just to listen. Now, if you have like a collective community that's bigger and you can kind of outsource to these people and talk to them about your experiences with clients, then that kind of gives them a way to be like, this person is not good for us. This person does not need to be around us, because one, they don't value our time. Two, they're maybe abusive or explosive or something that they don't need to be doing. Maybe they're just breaking somebody's limits. Like, that's a huge thing for somebody to say, I don't want to do this, or I only go this far, and then you to take it farther than that. That's a terrible thing. That's like the situation with you and the boy that just didn't want to listen. Like, I don't know how someone could be more in a headspace to feel entitled, like, I'm going to take this whether you want to give it or not.
That's
It's
it.
it's not an
In
unfair
fact,
request.
if you put it into context, it's actually rape.
Yes,
But
exactly.
people think because you're a sex worker, you cannot be raped
Which is completely
because you're
false.
offering services. No, but it's still my body. It's still my
Yes.
choice.
Yes. 100%. And it wouldn't matter even if you were halfway in the act and something happens and you're like, I'm not okay with this, stop. At that point, that means stop. That means your consent was removed. That means the
Yes,
other person should stop whatever they're doing.
yes.
And I too feel like not enough people understand consent. They don't understand that it can be revoked.
Oh, yes. But it's the same if the guy wanted me to penetrate him and he said stop and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't stop, then I will be as bad as him.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yes.
I always, my, how can I put it? I always asked if they were comfortable with what we were doing.
Right.
Did they want to carry on? If I hadn't seen them before, once you've seen someone, you know what they like
Right.
and know how far you can go and what to do.
Right. It also builds kind of rapport and confidence in the relationship. Then once you get to know someone, it kind of gives you that room for growth. So you can develop more of the relationship.
Yes.
But the first time is always, it's always kind of iffy, and you're always going to kind of question stuff. But I always tell anybody that asks me about consistent clients, do not get so complacent and so comfortable that you feel like they would never hurt you, because there's plenty of times where people have seen someone for a year, 2 years, 7 years, and they always were impeccable. And then that one time is all it takes for them to do something where they're crossing some kind of boundaries.
Yes, very true.
I just talked to someone else a little while ago about there was a model, an escort that was seeing this guy regularly. She had seen him for 7 years. And the last time that she had seen him, he didn't tell her, removed the condom, and was raw. And it broke her heart because she had been with him for 7 years. Like, people are going to do things like that. That's why you don't get complacent. It doesn't matter who they are, it doesn't
Correct.
matter how long you've been with them. They can still hurt you, they can still cross your boundaries, they can still do stuff to you that they should not be doing. That's
Yes.
why I have my consistent clients that I've had for many years. I still treat them, I treat them really well. I give them as much of myself as I offer, but I do not ever completely trust them.
No, you've got to treat them as a client
Yes.
and be prepared to kick them out,
Yes.
no matter what.
Yes. 100%. So let's kind of talk about things that you've experienced throughout your life. So, whenever you were younger, whether you were a child, a teenager, a young adult, did you ever have any kind of trauma experiences that were sexual, emotional, or physical?
Yes. I was raped at 12
I
by
feel.
um, a guy
Mhm.
that employed my mother.
Oh,
But when my father died, which was not long after that, the truth came out that he was actually my father.
oh no.
And yeah, and that went on till I was 14, and I picked a knife up and said, "You'll never do it again. I'll cut your balls off." And it stopped. But it was because the blackmail side was, or nobody will believe you, or this, I'm that. Because he was a prominent businessman.
Right.
And as a kid, you know, I'd been left fatherless.
Yeah.
I still never considered him to be my father.
Right.
And um, I never told my mother. But like I say, I got the knife and I held it up to him and I said, "Look, you're not doing it anymore. I'll chop your balls off if you try."
Yeah.
And he did stop. And I suppose the next biggest trauma was when my mother died. I was 17 and I'd looked after her for 2 or 3 years. And that was difficult.
Yes, very much so.
And then throughout my life, I've been actually married 3 times.
Mhm.
And I think I was always looking for the one that got away, if you like.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, I should have stayed with the first one.
Yeah.
But it was too late afterwards.
Right. Well, I'm sorry
Apart
that
from
you
that,
had so much go on in your past.
well, we've all got a past.
Yes.
I'm old enough now not to worry about it.
Well, you don't let it control you. You know
Oh
what I
no,
mean? Like, some people get stuck in it and they get scared of it. But the thing about it is, whenever it comes to trauma, you can turn it into something positive, just like with us. Like, I too was abused. The first time I was raped was when I was 3 years old. So it's one of those things where you don't let that control you, you turn it into your power. And that's essentially what you've done. You had all these traumas that kind of helped you develop into a person. And then you became somebody that you enjoy. And now you're doing something that you enjoy through sex work. Because, I mean, sex work, it's almost liberating on so many levels.
yeah, it's like doing the phone chat now. That can be quite liberating because you're living their fantasy for them.
Yeah.
Some of the guys, their fantasy is my reality.
Yeah.
and they'll say, "Well, has this happened?" And you tell them yes, and they keep coming back and back and back and back.
Right.
I've got one guy from America. He's tailed off at the moment, but in about 8 months, I earned $1,000 out of him. That's at 99 cents
Mhm.
a minute, which I get 42 cents a
Mhm.
minute. So you can tell he's been on along many, many times.
Right.
So some people wouldn't be able to take some of the calls that I get because it would go against their morals probably,
Mhm.
or what they expect people to want you to do,
Right.
or they want to do to you,
Right.
especially when you get into hard sports and
Yeah.
water sports, things like that.
Yeah.
But to me, if it's on the phone, doesn't matter because it's not actually happening to me.
Right. Yeah, so you can kind of separate the fantasy that you're helping with and reality, which
Yeah.
is that's a really good tool because your
Well, if you
imagination.
if you can't separate it, then you can't really do it. You can't really
Mhm.
do the chat because it would just drive you mad.
Right. Yeah.
The trauma of it in your mind,
Yeah.
you wouldn't sleep because some of the stuff, I will be truthful, is pretty hardcore.
Mhm.
And yeah, sometimes you think, well, if you're talking to me about it, are you really doing it?
Right.
Like you said, you were first raped at 3 years old. Well, I've got people that want to go younger than that. Well, to me, you know,
Yeah.
they're sick,
Yeah.
but I have to take it that it's just their fantasy.
Yeah. And I mean, that's literally it all goes back to therapy. People have traumas that they haven't dealt with or they kind of push under the rug and only deal with it whenever it gets too heavy. And then they don't understand that there's a better way. Through sex work, it can be a better way because that's where you come in with the role play. That's where you come in with all this imagination that you can use to help you through that with a willing participant. As long as it's a safe, controlled, consensual environment, it's cool.
Yeah, but like I say on the phone chat, to me, it doesn't hurt me
Hmm.
because I can, if I really get pissed off with them, excuse my language,
Oh, you're
I can
fine.
hang up.
Right. Yeah, 100%. You can literally control your own calls. It's not like, this corporate employer that you have to take every call you get. That's not how it is when you work for yourself. I mean, yeah, you might be costing yourself a few nickels, but I mean, at the end of the day, your mental health is more important than those few nickels.
Correct. Anybody that's thinking of going into phone sex have never done it, then they certainly need to think very hard what they can put up with
Yes.
and set their limits. But sometimes you set the limits and the person that's calling doesn't respect it. A night flirt, they say you can't talk about this, that, and the other. They
Yep.
don't monitor the call,
Yeah.
so anything could be said.
Right.
And I'm open enough to, yeah, I'll talk about anything
Right.
because I can put the um, traumatic bits out of my mind. It doesn't bother me.
Right. And
It's like
that that's a good
I
thing.
don't know if you know many girls that do phone chat. Do you? You know
I
many?
I know several. And I have mine set up too to do it, but I don't invest any time into it. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like it's very taxing and I spend my time on other stuff. So
Yeah.
mine is set up, but I don't use it. So I applaud
Well, what
you
what I
at your
was going to say
consistency.
is that a lot of these blokes, I think, when they're talking to a woman, She's actually dressed like I think she is, and she's
Yeah.
playing with herself and
Yeah.
doing what they wanted to do. And in actual fact, she's probably doing the ironing or
Yeah, the
having a
dishes.
cup of tea, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the funny side of it. I do get some guys that I know well enough now on adult work that I'll do a video call for them
Mhm.
so they can actually see me doing what they want me to do,
Right.
and I can see them. But I'll be truthful, I wouldn't want to do everything they want me to do because
Right.
it's a bit grim and gross. But
Yeah.
just the normal stuff I don't mind doing
Yeah.
on
Right.
video.
Right. So let's go ahead and take that to my next question. It's actually, do you have any hard or soft limits when it comes to your interactions with your clients? Is there anything you just are not interested in doing?
No, I'll do anything that's going to
Then reason.
earn me money, and it's within reason,
Right.
and they don't get abusive about it.
Right.
I can stand being sworn at and called names because some of them want to do that. I'll do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Right.
Because
Like the
I can just,
humiliation aspect.
yeah, I
Yeah.
can just think, well, you're just a prick anyway, so
Yeah.
it don't matter, and I'm taking your money,
Right.
and I'll keep you on as long as I can and drain you,
Yeah.
you know.
100%.
Yeah, well,
I love it.
that's what you got to. That's how you got to think, isn't it? Now, if it
Oh,
was in person, it'd be different.
right. Right. But with it
Yes, I do.
being
I do have my limits or I did have my limits in person. There's
mm,
things I wouldn't do and never would do.
right.
But on
You have a
phone
lot
chat,
more
yeah, I'll do it.
flexibility. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, whenever you were an escort, what did that look like for you? Was there something? I know you said that one of your hard limits was you always use condoms. You didn't let anybody do anything without condoms. Did you have any other hard limits as an escort?
I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have my mouth peed in. Um, Anything else sort of went.
Hmm.
If it was oral, it was always bare. I didn't mind doing bare oral, but
Hmm.
that was. And yeah, they could come in my mouth.
Hmm.
I wouldn't always swallow it because some don't taste very nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. That's like the
Yeah,
individual person. Like, I have argued with so many people that different people have different flavors. And let me tell you,
definitely,
that stands true.
definitely,
Anybody that has tasted knows what I'm talking about.
definitely. Especially if I have a lot of garlic.
Yeah. Yeah. Garlic and onions are terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. All right. So, that kind of leads to my next question, kind of the flow of stuff. So, whenever you went to balance your life, you balanced your work and your home life, what did that look like for you? Did you ever set time aside for yourself to do just things for you?
What, when I was in my normal profession, you mean?
Yes.
To be quite truthful, I worked many hours because um, the type of work I was in
Mhm.
was that, it was labor intensive.
Mhm.
So you had to be there for about 20 years when children were small. I never had a Christmas off.
Yeah.
So um, I never really had a hobby. I
Right.
suppose now my hobby is phone chat.
Yeah. So you kind of didn't have that and that time for yourself, that kind of self growth. And then after you started working for yourself, you had more opportunity for that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I like the flexibility with sex work as a whole. Like, yeah, you can get super busy. And if you take a day off, you're not going to get paid for it. But at the end of the day, you get to decide whether you're working. You
that's
consent.
right.
Yeah.
Choose your own times.
Yeah. Just right.
What I do now, I put it on when I wake up usually, and turn it off when I go to bed,
Mm-hmm.
and just leave it on whether anybody calls or not. It's on.
Right. Oh, I have a funny story about that. I actually forgot mine on my phone calls. I forgot it on one night, and I ended up getting a call. It was after 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, what is this person doing calling me at 4 o'clock in the morning? I was like, oh, I forgot it on. So they thought that I was they thought I was taking calls.
Yeah.
I was pretty pissed for a minute. I was like, what the fuck? Why is somebody calling me at this time? And I was like, oh, I did it. So
Yeah,
yeah, you gotta
we've
make
all
sure you
done that.
check it.
We've all done it. You can't do that with adult work because it goes off after 2 hours.
Yep.
Do you get adult work in America?
No, I was actually going to ask you about that. I don't know anything about adult work. I do Night
Right.
Flirt and Sex Panther, but I don't know adult work.
Well, adult work is an American-based company,
Hmm. I will have to look it
but
up. I saw it on
um,
yours and I was going to ask you about it actually.
I don't. I didn't think they did in America because I don't know how I saw it. Saw it somewhere, probably on Twitter,
Hmm.
that it wasn't available, but it is. It's UK and Australia. Now,
Hmm.
whether it's in Canada or not, I don't know. But
Yeah.
it's like Night Flirt. I'd never heard of Night Flirt till my
Yeah.
friend told me about it, and I get more charges than if I was in America.
Hmm.
It costs me more to have the line and what have you.
Yeah.
Plus,
The
plus I
processing
don't get any
nonsense.
I don't get any notification. If I get a text, I don't get a notification because I haven't got a North American number.
Yeah. So you have to
So I have
keep the
to keep
chat
looking.
open.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's aggravating. That's kind of something similar that happened. See, I get notifications for Night Flirt, but I don't get notifications for Sex Panther because they went through an ordeal where they lost their SMS carrier. So now you only get the notifications in the app, or if you're like online, you don't
yeah,
get anything sent to your phone. So that's
no,
inconvenient if you're trying to do other stuff.
yes.
So yeah.
You have to keep looking back.
Yeah. So let's kind of talk about how you developed into the person that you are today. How has sex work helped you grow?
Made me more open-minded. Made me realise that there are a lot of people in this world that have got a lot of troubles,
Hmm.
and they want to live out their fantasies, but some of them are too frightened to do so.
Yeah.
Some of them have actually lived them out and regret it.
Hmm.
But the majority of people, I do believe that it is fantasy.
Yes. Yes.
But you're
I
always going to
completely
get the
agree.
10% that actually do it.
Hmm.
What they want to talk about. They
Right.
either do it, still doing it, have done it, or intend to do it.
Yeah. Yes. I completely agree. So let's kind of talk about abnormal kinks. I know you were talking about like whenever you are on phone chat, it doesn't really matter if it's something that you're into. How do you feel about abnormal kinks in person? So that would be whatever abnormal means to you, like whatever looks different or has like not such a good light shined on it in the kink community or in the outside community looking at the kink community.
What, to actually do it physically?
Yeah.
There's not much I wouldn't do.
So abnormal kinks aren't really something that's a whole big, it's not a big deal for you.
No,
Hmm.
no. There's things. I'm not into loads of pain,
Right.
but a bit of pain, yeah. I've been in a couple of films. The last one, um, I had to get whipped.
Hmm.
I hadn't been whipped before. I can't say I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't that bad.
Right.
but I wouldn't want that all the time,
Right.
and I wouldn't. I'm not into too much heavy bondage.
Mhm.
Apart from that, yeah, I'll have a go at most things.
Nice, nice. Okay, so with saying that, we talked earlier kind of about your screening process. It kind of changed after your interaction with the guy that tried to break your boundaries. So that kind of helped you grow and realize, hey, not everyone's going to be respectful. So how did it make you change the way you do things for the screening process? Did you ask particularly for exactly their age? Like, what did you do to kind of counter that guy that was disrespectful?
Like you said, I did ask more probing questions,
Mhm.
and right, just prove to me that you were over 30,
Right,
and ask something from my past that they should know about. Being over 30,
right,
under 30s wouldn't anyway,
right,
and that helped. And when they arrived, because I never took any money up front, so they hadn't paid me anything. If I didn't like the look of them, then sorry, I don't particularly want to see you,
right.
and just close the door.
Yeah,
But
certainly.
that only happened once.
Mhm. Was it just
But
how the person looked that you just
yeah,
okay.
yeah, most people are pretty respectful,
Mhm.
and how they greet you as well. You get to sort of suss out what they're like.
Right,
If they um, come with a handshake or an embrace, then you think, well, you're going to be okay. The guy that just barges past and
yeah,
you know do this, do that, get your clothes off, then you think, fuck off.
right. Yeah, 100%. And that's what you should do for yourself
Oh,
because
definitely.
you do not have to take that shit.
Anybody that respects themselves
Mhm.
shouldn't anybody let anybody disrespect them.
Yes, 100%. So, whenever you think about sex work, what do you associate it with in your mind? Is it more positive thoughts or is it negative thoughts?
Positive. Like I said before, I think we provide a service as such,
Mhm.
and if it stops a young lass being raped in the street or a young child being abused, that you've done your job, I think.
Right. Yes.
But having said that, I don't agree with guys abusing the girls or
Right.
other guys.
Right.
You're always going to get some prick that's going to try and abuse you.
Yeah. So, what would be really cool is I know we were talking about earlier in the chat about kind of a a way to explain stuff to people, a way to educate and just kind of give people more information so they are more informed. It will be really cool if we could do more like self-defense classes to teach more people how to take care of themselves and kind of things to look at so that people know what some people's tells are and just especially give those new people that are baby sex workers coming in, to just give them advice that helps them have a foundation so that they're not in as many dangerous situations. Because without it being regulated, it's pretty hard to make sure everybody's taken care of.
Well, yeah, I think any girl that goes to other people's homes to provide the service should have a pepper spray
Yeah.
and a rape alarm,
Yeah.
and maybe shouldn't say this, but a nice big pin,
Yeah.
not a knife, a nice old-fashioned hat pin,
Yeah.
or even a knitting needle,
Yeah.
sharpened.
Yeah.
Because you stick that in somebody's balls, they're going to say, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure you
Maybe
stick that anywhere and people are gonna be
maybe I'm
like,
a cruel bastard. I might be maybe I'm a cruel bastard, but that's my opinion.
no, if you're not breaching someone's consent, then there wouldn't be any need for that.
Correct.
Like respect the boundaries and meet the people where they are. Don't be overly aggressive. Like if you're a client listening, understand that there is a lot of pressure when it comes to someone in sex work. Understand that whenever someone sets a boundary, it's not something for you to question or to challenge. It's already difficult. Like on both sides of the spectrum, it's already difficult. It's difficult for the people searching for the therapy and the people providing the therapy. So
Yes,
don't add to that.
but some people like to cause um, trauma and
Yeah.
get you upset so that they can go a bit further, push you a bit further.
Mm-hmm. And the biggest ordeal about that is they have traumas that they refuse to deal with and they project on other people.
Yes.
So let's kind of look. I know I just asked a moment ago about how you associate sex work. Most of it's positive, but have you ever at any point during your sex work career found that you've had some kind of regret?
No, I don't
Nice.
regret doing it.
Nice.
Probably regret leaving it too late. I should have done it earlier.
Hmm.
But I miss it still a bit now.
Yeah.
Not the money side, just the physical bit.
Like the companionship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the friendship, if you like.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
And
once you've got like you said about you people have had clients 6 7 years. I don't say
mhm.
you become friends, but you get to be able to talk to one another and know
Oh yeah,
what's what.
right. And you build a foundation for relationships. I mean, whenever you're looking at a relationship, that's essentially part of your development too. So you develop these relationships with people and they get to be consistent people in your life. So you kind of get
Yeah.
used to them being there.
Yes. Yes.
So let's kind of look at your day-to-day responsibilities. What does life for the dirty old man look like?
Now, just the thought that one day I'm going to die
Mm,
because there's nothing much to live for these days. My One of my daughters has died.
mhm,
I don't see the other one. I don't see the middle son and the youngest one. Well, I might see him once every 6 months.
mhm.
So there's nothing much to live for anymore.
Is it just something that you guys didn't agree with? Is that just some kind of family matter?
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
I will admit I probably was a prick when I left my first wife. That's
Hmm.
who I had all the children with, and he was brought up with three women,
Hmm.
but his mother didn't actually tell him the truth why I left or anything like that. So of course, when I stopped seeing him, it was her at her request that I didn't go and pick him up anymore. Well,
Hmm.
she's never told him that. So of course I'm the prick,
Right. Yeah.
and but rather than cause any hassle, just let it go now. I'm
Yeah.
too old to fight now.
Yeah.
But like
Well,
I say, look, all I can see now is a wooden overcoat.
mm.
If you understand what I mean by that.
Well, I'm hoping that there's a lot of people that you've made that you kind of network with that
Oh yeah.
help you through your hardship.
I've still got a few friends around,
Mhm.
but of course you always get the ones that one or two that always want something from you.
Yeah, I think that's
I've got one
unfortunately, that's
messaging me at
people
the
in
moment.
general.
Pardon?
I think that's people in general. They feel like the only reason that you're in their life is to add something to it, to give them something.
Yes,
And if you're not being useful, they really don't want to spend any time with you or do anything with you.
true. As long as you're giving, you're always got, oh yeah, well I'll come round. But
Hmm.
when you say sorry, I can't give any more, then they get a bit shitty with you.
Yes.
I
Yes.
always remember my mother saying to me, "Why you got £1 in your pocket? You've got a friend.
Hmm.
When
Yeah.
you haven't, where are you going to get one from?"
Right. And that's the cruel reality, I think, of people all over, not just in sex work, but in any life.
Oh
Like,
yes,
I run into that all the time. And not only do I run into people wanting to always either borrow money or use me for money, they literally want to like leech off of things that I've built. Like whenever COVID happened, there was a lot of people that wanted to get into sex work. They thought, oh, well, that's where I need to go. So sex work started getting so saturated because everybody was going to it. And I could not count how many people reach out to me and be like, will you help me get my start? Will you help me do this? Will you help me do that? But it wasn't them wanting to become a part of something that helped them grow as a person or provide therapy or do anything like that. They thought that they were just going to sell some feet pictures or some ass pictures and make thousands of dollars
oh
without
yeah.
advertising, and they wanted me to do all the work and all this shit. And I'm like, that's not how it works. Like, you have to work your ass off in this industry.
People think that it pays well.
Yeah.
Far from the truth.
Yeah.
They see some of these so-called celebrities on OnlyFans, let's say, and
Mm-hmm.
they're earning thousands, millions, and all this. There's only one or two doing that. The majority of people are getting 100 quid
Yeah.
here and there if they're lucky.
Yeah. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I'm always completely upfront and honest with people whenever they come to me asking, how do I get into this work? I always give them a few pieces of advice. One of them includes you're going to have to work your ass off. You're going to have to market yourself constantly. And you're going to have to make a brand in which people want to spend money on because nobody wants to spend money on somebody that doesn't have a name. So until you
Correct.
get yourself a name, you're not going to make money.
I've been on Night Flirt now, probably coming up 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've not earned a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
I've earned money, but not a fortune because
Right.
if you can overprice yourself.
Yes.
People think, oh well, you can put £5 or $5 a minute. Yeah, you can, but nobody's going to call you.
Yeah. 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 You can price yourself at whatever you want, but whenever you're looking at the market, unfortunately, you have to look at what other people are charging too. And sometimes other people shoot themselves in the foot. They don't
Yeah,
charge enough. And we can't change that.
I've always set mine at just under the dollar and just under the pound.
Hmm.
When I first started on adult work, I was at I think about 50p, which is what to you $1.82. So sort of 75 cents then.
Right.
And then I gradually worked as I got more clients, put it up and up and up, and I've got it to 99 pence and
Mm.
left it.
Yeah.
But some you can see they go up and down all the time. I can't see the point.
Yeah.
If you've got clients and they can see a consistent price, they know what you're going to do for them, they'll come back.
Right. Yes.
The same with escorting. I can't remember what I charged. I think it was about 80 quid an hour. But I couldn't see that paying guys were going to pay more because I wouldn't pay anymore.
Right.
You know, I don't know what the going rate is in America for a girl, but here, I suppose where I live, the average escort for an in call would be £120, and for an out call probably £140.
Hmm.
Some want 200 for an out call, and some will, want 100.
Right.
And it's not always about the money anyway. I've seen girls before I started, and I paid the 200 quid because I like them.
Right. Yeah.
I've also paid 50 quid because I like them.
Yeah. For
It's not
sure.
just about money.
Well, and that's what a
It
lot of
was
people
never
don't
all about money
understand.
for me. I don't know about
Yeah.
you. It was never all about money.
Yeah. No, no. To me, I look at it as art most of the time. So it's art in the conversation or whatever the interaction is, whatever this person's time is, I'm going to purchase it because I enjoy them as a person. That's why I do extensive research on anybody before I dive into a relationship with them, because I want to know, is this person going to be compatible with me? The price doesn't matter. Are they compatible with me? And I feel like a lot of people don't look at compatibility whenever they're booking someone or whenever they're buying something from someone, because some people are fetishists. They just have this written agenda that they want anybody to perform. Anybody could perform it. But there's other people that don't do that. We look at, what does this person bring? Is there any compatibility? Am I going to get along with them?
Yeah, because if you don't get along, it's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's like any relationship. If you don't get along, the sex isn't any good anyway, I don't think,
Yeah, no, I am
because
100% right there with you.
it's like you might as well drill a hole in the wall, put some air out, stick your cock in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's what it feels like to me anyway.
yeah,
People probably
same.
say, "Oh, you're a silly old bugger," but it's true. If you
It is
don't
true.
get, it's not what to me. If you're seeing a girl, it's not about sticking your cock in. It's the build up. I
Yes,
get more satisfaction and pleasure from foreplay than I do from sex.
right. Yes, 100%.
Sex is sex. You can have sex with anybody,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah,
you can have a rubber doll.
yeah,
You don't need a girl,
right.
but to get the interaction and the closeness and the warmness, then you've got to get on.
Yeah, I completely agree. So I have one more question for you, and I'll let you get on with your day. My last question for you today is going to be, do you feel like sex work is an easy industry to get into?
No, it's easy. Yeah, it's easy to get into. It's hard to actually do.
100%. I completely agree.
It's okay saying I love sex. When you've had 10 blokes, are you still going to love sex in the same day?
Yeah.
I'll give you an instance. When the pandemic was on and there weren't many clients about, I knew some girls in London, and they normally would charge £100 for an hour.
Mhm.
Only they were Turkish and Spanish. While the pandemic was on, they couldn't get the clients, so they dropped the fees to £40, which was £40, about $60.
Mhm.
And one of them, in one day, she had 28 clients,
Mhm.
so she got fucked 28 times.
Yeah.
So when I was talking to her just after that on the night time, I said, "How do you feel?" She said, "I can hardly walk. I'm sore, and I wish I hadn't done it. But
Yeah.
I needed the money because I had to pay my rent."
Yeah.
And that was the only way I could get it. Is
Yeah.
that, you know, should they have to do that? No.
Yeah.
But over here, I don't know what it's like with you. The welfare system isn't fair.
Oh, yeah. It's like that in America too.
Just not fair.
Yeah.
But like you said, is it easy? It's easy to get into, yes, because you think, or they think, I'm going to earn a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be dead easy. I'm going to like everybody that I meet because I enjoy sex. They
Right.
actually get into it, find that they're sat there, can be sat there for days and not have a client.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do get the client, they don't like him,
Yeah.
or his cock's too big, or it's too small, or he wants to stick it up their bum.
Yeah. And it's one of
So,
those things you don't get to like completely pick your clients. Now, after your name gets bigger and you can kind of be choosy, you can kind of pick who you see, but you don't get to like go out in public and be like, "Oh, I want to see you. I want to see you. I want to see you." You have to wait for them to come to you. So
correct.
essentially, you only get to pick from the lot that come to you.
Your pool of people is big,
Yeah.
but who you're going to see is very small because, like I said to begin with, 70% of people are just taking the mickey. They just
Yeah.
want to talk and wank off.
Yeah.
They don't want to see you at all. They don't want to book at all.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Thank you so much for being so amazing today.
You're welcome. I've enjoyed talking to you.
I'm glad. Again, if you guys listening have not followed him on Twitter at dirtyoldman_AW, hop on over there, list of links. You can go ahead if you want to have a chat with him or just go support. We need more support in sex work. We need more visibility and support because I feel like we don't get as much as we deserve. I'll see you guys on the next episode of Forbidden Depths, and you have a wonderful day. Hey, it's Queen Frostbitten again, your host. I just want to remind you that you can follow us on YouTube at Forbidden Depths. That's FORBIDDENDEPTHS. Or over on Twitter at the number 4 BIDDENDPODCAST. Remember to always stay educated, consensual, and safe. We'll see you on the next show.